Hey everyone, and welcome to Cooking Companion TV. I'm Jenna Edwards, and this is a recipe demo of tomato tarte tatin by Ian Knauer in Bon Appetit Magazine. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Usually the tarte tatin is made with apples, but sometimes you see pears. Tomatoes are a very unique twist on an already mind-blowing dessert. We'll start out with measuring the circle shape on the puff pastry sheet. This is a tongue twister. You'll probably need to roll out the pastry sheet a little bit so it can reach all your edges. You can use the pan to measure about an inch larger than the edges of the pan, or just cut off the corners. How this works is we're going to cook the fruit, and then you put this on top and you bake it, and then you flip it so this puff pastry becomes the crust on the bottom. Now we prep the tomatoes, about 8 large plum tomatoes. So bringing a large saucepan to a boil, cut a shallow X on the ends of each tomato to help encourage the skin to peel off. And using a serrated knife works best anytime you're dealing with tomatoes. Add 4 tomatoes at a time to the pot and blanch them just until the skins at the X begin to peel back. It should only take 15 to 30 seconds for the skin to start rolling back. And don't let them go longer than a minute because we don't want to cook them down. We're just removing the skin. And then remove them with a slotted spoon and transfer them to a bowl of ice water to cool quickly and stop cooking. And repeat with the remaining tomatoes. And once they're cool to the touch, peel the skins off. If you notice that my tomatoes are different shapes, I had to cut some bad parts off. And once they're peeled, cut them in half lengthwise and remove the hard cores. And then remove the seeds. We'll take 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter that have been sitting at room temperature and spread it over the bottom of an 8 or 9 inch cast iron skillet. And then we'll sprinkle 3/4 of a cup of sugar over the butter. You don't have to stir this together. And about now, you're probably thinking, wow, that's a lot of sugar. And it is. Then place the tomato halves rounded side down and close together. Normally we're putting the cut side down, but remember, we're going to flip this. And we want the rounded side to be presented. So put the rounded side down to the bottom of the pan. And then place them ideally in concentric circles to fill the pan completely, or just however you can fill it up. Now it's going to look very full, but by the time you cook them all down and then bake it, you'll find that you have just enough space. So now we get to put on the heat. Over medium heat, cook until the butter and sugar cook down to a thick, bubbly syrup that's a deep amber color, occasionally moving the tomatoes around to prevent them from burning. And do this for about 25 minutes. So here we are after about 10 minutes. And here we are at about 20 minutes. Now I'm trying to show you the amber color of the syrup, but it's not happening on the wooden spoon. Remove the skillet from the heat and immediately drizzle 1 teaspoon of vanilla over the tomatoes, which I forgot to do. And if you forget to, the tart still tastes amazing. I didn't even realize I forgot to put in the vanilla until I started writing the script. And then try to scoot everything into the middle of the pan as best as you can. Now we get to put the pastry round on top of our caramelized tomatoes. Now the easiest way to do that is to fold the pastry round in half, then in half again, so it's just 1/4 of its regular size. I did this right after I cut it and then stored it in the fridge. That's why it's still kind of thick and easy to handle. And then you put the center point over the fruit, and then gently and quickly unfold the sheet over the rest of the pan, and carefully tuck in the edges between the pan and the fruit using a paring knife. And cut a few slits into the top of the pastry to allow the steam to escape. And bake at 425 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes until the pastry is a deep golden brown. I took mine out at 20 minutes. Now to verify that the juices are where we want them to be, tilt the pan. If the juices are not like a thick syrup, like they're too thin, then boil it down on the stovetop until you reach the thick syrup state. Be careful not to boil off the juices completely because then your fruit will stick to the pan. And this is just right. I can see the syrup is like kind of moving, but not too quickly, but it's definitely moving. And we'll let the tart cool in the pan for 8 to 10 minutes and no longer. Again, if things cool down and thicken too much, it'll all stick to the pan. And then cut around the sides of the skillet to loosen the pastry. Place your serving platter over the skillet, and using oven mitts or thick towels, hold the skillet and platter firmly together and flip it in one quick motion so the tart sits on the platter with the pastry side down. Mine actually didn't release immediately. It was after a few seconds of sitting upside down that I heard it release. And now the pastry is your crust. So rearrange any tomato pieces that may have moved around during the flip and scoop out any remaining caramel or tomato pieces to fill in the entire crust. And serve with whipped creme creme fraiche, or ice cream. You'll definitely raise some eyebrows when you serve this. And that's it for this recipe demo of tomato tarte tatin. Get the ingredients below or at cookingcompaniontv.com/tomato tatin. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it and subscribe to this channel for more demos just like this. I'm Jenna Edwards and thanks for watching.